Okay, here we go with the Dr. Greger dating method. This is the dating profile of Peter Rogers, MD, which is me. Okay, first I'm going to do the bad stuff because more people would rather hear the bad stuff anyways. The good stuff, it sounds like I'm bragging and I'm a jerk. Okay, so anyways, here's the bad stuff. I'm kind of old. I'm 60 years old. Most people in person tell me I look like I'm about 45, but I'm 60. I'm bald, obviously. I'm only 5'9" in height. I'm half Puerto Rican, and lots of people hate Puerto Ricans. I have a super nice Puerto Rican family, but Puerto Ricans, that people think they're a little crazy. They're kind of one of the louder versions of Hispanics, and they run around with their flag once a year because back in when the USA conquered them, so to speak, they wouldn't allow them to hold the flag, or they would do that to them. So because of that, they like to wave their flag at least once a year. I'm also half Irish. Lots of people hate the Irish. And people say they like the Irish on St. Patrick's Day, but the reality is they were a bunch of slaves. They were slaves to the British for like 1,000 years. Currently, they're being you-know-what-sided, and no one cares about them. Okay, so all this talk about help the so-and-so person, the Irish are being you-know-what-sided. No one's helping them. They're going to be genocided, and no one is doing anything to help them. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is I come from weak ethnic groups. If you want to associate yourself with somebody from a powerful ethnic group, I'm the wrong guy. Also, when it comes to doing stuff around the house, I'm completely lazy and worthless. I never help with anything. My future ex-wife said, "You better be good at this medical stuff because you suck at everything else." And my rationale is that, look, I pay for stuff. So if I'm paying for stuff, leave me alone. I don't have a lot of free time. I want to spend it on things that I want to do. And that was sort of like, in a sense, I felt like she was being paid to be the landlord and can take care of it or get someone else to take care of it. I don't like to travel like long distances. I've only been on a plane once in the last 27 years to Puerto Rico. I'm willing to drive across town to visit relatives or something, but I don't like traveling on planes. So if you got in your mind's eye that you want to go on vacation to Mexico every year, somewhere far away or tropical, forget it. I'm not interested in that. I can go out in the sun for an hour in the backyard. I don't need to, travel and go through all that. I don't like that. Okay, very nerdy, kind of a loner, not very social. I don't even own a cell phone. And the reason why I'm willing to get a cell phone, I guess I'm going to have to, but the reason is I know a lot about how to concentrate one's energy and be very productive. And I know from experience, if I have a cell phone, it's distracted. I mean, it's hard to really concentrate. I do really sort of top-notch academic things, and that kind of drags me down intellectually. I also know too, not to brag, but it's a fact. I'm super smart, and it's weird, but I used to be a great athlete too. When I was a great athlete, everybody liked me. Everybody liked being part of that, sports victories and all that stuff. But it's weird when you're really smart, people kind of hate you, and it's just because you currently are breaking old paradigms, old conventions, and people resent that. It's weird, but people don't resent when you're a better athlete than them, but when you're smarter than them, more intellectually successful than them, they resent it. And I'm about as smart and intellectually successful as it gets. So I've noticed that they don't let me talk. And I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not allowed to talk. That happens all the time. People think that sounds strange. Trust me. If I would get in a car with my future ex-wife, she would always say to me, "Okay, where we're going, these are simple people. Don't you start talking. You freak everyone out. You start showing off." And I'm like, they don't let me talk. Even my other native-born family a lot of times won't let me talk. So that gets boring for me if I'm not allowed to talk. So I don't like that. That's another reason why I'm not usually that social. I do love talking with people. If there's people that want to talk, I'm not the guy to pick up a phone and invite anybody. The woman would have to do that. I'm not going to be arranging any social stuff. I never watch TV. I don't do stuff average people do, okay? I mean, think of the smartest person you know, double it or triple it. That's me, okay? I don't waste time. I think TV is for morons and retards. It's all, guided towards advertising to low IQ people, so I will never watch a TV show. My future ex-wife didn't want me even teaching the kids. She thought that I was an Asperger autistic crazy person because I would get them to do things that were relatively advanced, but there was a reason for that. For example, I taught my kid PowerPoint when he was only in 4th grade because he was going to art school. He was drawing Steve Irwin, like Crocodile Dundee stuff, and he was having fun with it, and he wanted to have to make a presentation for school, and I was teaching him how to do it artistically. And what I'm trying to say is I have a philosophical, artistic, aesthetic sense of learning and knowledge and presentations and stuff, and for a regular person, that kind of freaks them out. My future ex-wife, doctor, was sort of what you would call like a traditional doctor, like a typical person. Go to school, get good grades, then you could get a good job, then you could make money. Okay? And that's a logical, reasonable thing to do. My way of thinking was more like, okay, biochemistry is a language of God that he uses to write the book of life. Someday, if I want to be a great doctor, great scientist, I must learn biochemistry, and it's beautiful. Okay, and so I'd be like the best biochemistry medical student in the entire United States. Fantastic results. But the reason I would get there was that philosophical sense. That's what empowered me and my memory to do great academic things. But on the other hand, to a regular person, they think, are you crazy? Why would you say you love biochemistry or things like that? Which to me, it's an obvious thing. Your memory works better if you're interested in the subject rather than just doing it for the grade. But I do know from experience, people sometimes think that that's strange. I also wanted my children to learn how to draw, because if you draw, you can connect it to anything you're doing in your life. But that also would piss off my wife, because she's like my former future ex-wife, because her attitude was like, you're confusing the kids, wasting their time with this art nonsense. They're going to end up homeless or, living in an apartment somewhere, starving artists. And she did not like it. But I thought it was something you add to whatever you do. Like if you make a presentation, you write an essay, you add your drawing to it. It just accentuates it, makes it better. But I just know from experience that a lot of regular people, they don't get my aesthetic sense. People I think who are smarter, they love it. I get told all the time I have the best presentations anybody's ever seen. My medical colleagues. Okay, a college student, for example, here's a typical thing a college student said to me. I'm an expert, world-class expert on study skills. A college student said to me, if you taught at our college, within 6 months, you would be the most popular professor on campus. All the students would love you, but then there would be one student who would file a complaint on you for saying something controversial. The university would side with them and you would be fired within 1 year. They said that's what would happen. And that was sort of a consensus opinion amongst a couple college students. So that's the kind of thing. It's kind of weird, but America used to be a meritocracy, but it's not a meritocracy anymore. And people like somebody who's minimally competent, but they're frightened of somebody like me who's super competent. So I always kind of have to dumb myself down, and I get tired of doing that. I work long hours as a conventional MD. I'm kind of a workaholic. It's just the nature of the job. When I'm not working, I'm usually writing books, making YouTube videos, or lifting weights. So what I'm trying to say is, I know from experience, and my family member tell me, for somebody like me, you have to really like smart people. I'm like the epitome of a smart person. If you like regular guys, regular men, a normal guy to watch TV with, drink a beer with, or, talk about, the sports teams, I'm the wrong person. You'll hate me. But if you want to be around somebody who's super smart, what they even told me was it'd have to be a very nerdy intellectual person. Or somebody who just at least had really smart family members, so they like them, because there's an idiosyncratic nature to really smart people. Okay, really smart people all like each other because it's so rare to meet someone like themselves. All right, so now I'm going to go into some of the good stuff. That's the bad stuff. And I do things that other people might think are crazy, but I thought they were good. It drove my wife apeshit bananas that in my old house, I converted an upstairs bedroom into a racquetball court because it had a wooden floor. We weren't using it. And, I had a big in-ground pool in the backyard. I had a full court basketball court in the backyard. I had a half a tennis court in the backyard to hit against a wall with tennis balls, an area to run, animal enclosures, a jungle gym, chickens, rabbits, all this cool stuff, which I loved it. And she was already kind of annoyed with that. But then what drove her apeshit bananas was I converted the living room into an indoor basketball court, because my kid wanted me to do that because he wanted to play better basketball. We were just using it for storage. But what I'm trying to say is that's the kind of stuff I did. I boarded up all the windows and then put a basketball court in there. We were the most popular house in town. All my relatives wanted to come over. All the children wanted to come to our house. My kids' friends all wanted to come to our house. Everybody loved it. But my wife went crazy and insisted on moving out of that house because the basketball bouncing all day long, the kids were playing for hours basketball inside the house. That pissed her off. And that's why we ended up having to move. But what I'm trying to say is that's the kind of stuff I would do, which I think is a good thing, but she didn't like it too much. Okay, what do I think are the good things about me? I'm very low maintenance. That's about all I do. I work as a doctor, and when I'm not working as a doctor, I write a book or make a YouTube video, lift weights. Pretty simple. As a matter of fact, people who really know me, that's what they freak out about, how simple I am and how sort of smart I am in a weird way, like knowledge. There's a lot of people I think who have IQs as high as I do. A lot of doctors. And I know that because I talk to them and something new comes up, and they often get it as fast as I do, or faster than me sometimes, okay? And they can do other things, some things faster than me. But I just have so much more knowledge than the average doctor. It's not even funny. I think my genetic IQ might only be about 140, just like your typical real smart doctor. But my trained IQ is way higher. It's like 170 or something like that. I'm pretty used to getting the highest grade in the class, a bunch of people who are like the top 10% in their medical school class, things like that. Okay, the good stuff. Very low maintenance, like I said. If you had to like incorporate some of my role model personalities who inspired me in some way, Aristotle, sucking up all the knowledge of his time. Aquinas unifying the concept of religion and knowledge, that they go together, because they do if you really understand them. Newton going off by himself to think so he could figure things out, and then really figuring out advanced things. I figured out the best theory of why people become cognitively impaired, demented, lose brain cells. I figured out the best theory of why people have back pain, and I figured out the mitochondrial inhibitor theory of cancer. So I figured out a lot of things, and I'm very good at that. Let's see what else. I love Dostoevsky as a writer, Brothers Karamazov, Tom Wolfe. I thought my two favorite comedians, Sam Kinison and Rodney Dangerfield. So if you don't like these guys, you probably won't like me, because they've had a big influence on my personality and how I think. I don't travel, but I do like going to the zoo or going bird watching, going to bookstores. I like watching movies, but it has to be an old movie, at least 25 years or older in general, because the modern movies all stupid, retard action flicks with special effects. I like the old stuff, that's emotional, that has deeper meaning. My vocabulary is off the charts, even back when I was young, because I read so much. I easily read, 2 books a week, usually 3 books a week, just from my magic bathroom story, etc. You can look that up if you want. My bathroom, I have it set up so I can always read when I'm in there. The people who actually know me tell me I'm very funny, because I noticed when I first came out of college, I was a little socially awkward because nobody wanted to talk about intellectual things. So I memorized all these jokes, thousands of them. I kept a word processor file of jokes, and I would tell them, and I knew them all, and I could spontaneously make them. But so people who are my friends and they let me talk, they love how funny I am. Okay, but a lot of people won't let me talk. They're always offended, or they can't handle it. Okay, because it's not like something that you're normally going to hear. Let's see what else. I have a wide knowledge of many subjects. Literature, art, history, Christianity, nutrition, health, biology, philosophy. Uniquely, because it's kind of like I didn't mean my life to be this way, but it just happened. I was really socially isolated since I was about 18 years old when I went off to Stanford, far from home, and then went to med school in a bad neighborhood. So I've constantly been studying and reading an extraordinary amount, and I retain it pretty well. So that's the thing, people kind of freak out. And I've had guys like try to make fun of me. Guys are like in the top 10% of their medical school class, and I just know so much more than them in a conversation. If they try to like push me down in some way, they can't. I just beat the crap out of them intellectually. There's no comparison. Like a guy who's top 10% in his medical school class cannot compete with me intellectually, because a lot of them have tried. They can't, not even in the ballpark. Loves to talk to people, but you'd have to invite them. Like if we lived together in a house and you wanted company and have us socialize, you would have to call them all. I wouldn't call anybody, but I would enjoy chatting with them. That would be nice if they're nice. So yeah, that's kind of, I know I talk about being smart, but that's kind of like the defining characteristic of me, so I have to talk about it. I'm one of the best doctors in the world, triple boarded, Harvard trained, all that stuff. I'll tell you one thing, like an old Harvard girlfriend said, this girl is really pretty, like a perfect 10 in beauty. I almost married her, but she only wanted 1 kid, so that's why I broke up with her, but she's actually really nice. And I did like her a lot. She said, I don't know why I go out with you. You're not that cute. You're kind of short. You're going bald. You're kind of obnoxious. I think it's because of your intelligence. You're the smartest person I've ever met in my life. I can talk to you about anything, and I can be myself with you. That's why I love you. Okay, and that was like when she meant it. That was like kind of part of our relationship. And just to give you a little perspective, this lady was a Harvard doctor, and I read all the journals in her field, the textbooks in her field, and I wrote a research paper for her in her field. Okay, and it won the National Gold Medal Award, and it was good for her career. And I go to the national meeting, and I go look at the poster presentation, and my name's not on it. And I'm like, how come my name's not on it? And she's like, well, you got the best deal out of anybody. You get to be with me, and that's better than getting your name on it. And I agree. I thought it was a great deal. So, but that was funny. But that'll be like a typical story from my background. Okay, genetic IQ. Well, we already talked about that. I was a great athlete when I was young. I was super strong. I was great. I was good at everything. All-star team and everything. I was student athlete of the year at Stanford University, the best student athlete of the year college in the United States. I set the all-time record for wins in a season, and that's because I had an injury. If I hadn't been injured, I would have been an All-American. So I was actually kind of disappointed in my athletic career, which motivated me more in my academic career. I was always real physically strong. Like in college, I bench pressed 345 at a 170 body weight. Currently, I'm totally healthy. I don't take any pills. I don't have any medical problems, none. I got great endurance, mental, physical, great physical strength for my age. I'm a great role model for anybody that's interested in time management. Like I said, I've written about 22 books. I wrote 5 books last year, and they're big, complex books. That's because I don't do anything else other than work as a doctor and write books and make YouTube videos. It's kind of my hobby. I'm having fun with my YouTube channel. It's not monetized or anything, and it's just for fun, but I like it. If I ever get pushed off this channel, I'll go to the other video channels, but this is where I'm at for now because there's more audience here. Let's see. I do have a Christian philosophy of life. I am a Christian. I believe in God, and I think that makes everything much better, and I do think Christianity is quite superior to other cultures. I don't believe in multicultural crap. If you want a wimpy, soy boy, multicultural type person, you're going to hate my guts, because I think Christianity is quite superior to all the other cultures in terms of its aesthetic approach to life and what it has done in art, in literature, in music, and building societies that everybody wants to move to, even though they're now all being destroyed. So anyways, that's not going to change. I'm not dogmatic about anything religious because I've read tons of different versions of the Bible and Bible commentary, and I know that they can never agree on anything, and they never will. But the basic stuff, the Jesu Christu, that doesn't change. Be nice to each other, give each other the benefit of the doubt, forgive each other, follow the 10 Commandments, try to get along. Okay, that's all that stuff. Okay, yeah, and the reason I'm getting divorced is because my wife wants to get divorced. It wasn't my idea. So that's how I ended up here, okay? So if this stuff works and, you can send me an email if you want. And if it seems there's any potential, we could talk on Zoom or something. So that's about it.